Hey there, friends. This is me, Jay, once again on Liformation, and today we're going to be talking about a new topic. What is it? It's about, well, something that we most often do in the night. Now, I know what you're thinking, no, but this is something that we all do in the night. And what's that? It's, of course, sleep, right? Well, we all need sleep, as you know. Do we? But what is sleep? What exactly is sleep, right? And why do we do it? I mean, we all get sleepy. It's a biological phenomenon, isn't it? Well, at least we think it is. Well, sleep, as we most often than not know, is a form of dying. Yeah, if we could call it that way, because, well, we are not conscious of our surroundings once you do fall asleep, right? Until the point you wake up. So for, let's say, a couple of hours a day, we all go into that sleep state, right? So what we call a sleep is not a necessity in life. Yeah, I know what they all say, sleep for 8 hours a day and all that. But what we really need is restfulness, right? There is a clear distinction between sleep and restfulness. So what our bodies need is restfulness, not necessarily sleep. Sleep is one form of restfulness. So that's because since we do not know how to stay rested when we're awake and conscious, so we need to shut off all our senses in order to be restful. But there are ways and forms that you can actually achieve a restfulness during the time that you are awake and you're aware of your surroundings. But most often than not, we do not know how to achieve those states. And we're most often than not, our heartbeats and pulses are just all over the place. Like sometimes it beats at 60 beats per minute, dup, 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 dup. And when you get excited, it goes to about 80. So some of you who are younger might go up to 100, or so that's the problem. And most often, right, restfulness is for the body, right? Certain biological functions need that restfulness for recovery. For example, if you exercise, or engage in heavy work that requires, wear and tear of your body, and those need rest. Your body needs that kind of rest if you're doing heavy exercise. But all of us don't do that kind of work. But nevertheless, we fall asleep, and like we some of us fall asleep like we're dead. Like we have no idea, no clue as to what's going on around us. So the reason for that is our minds are heavily engaged when we're actually awake. We're not at rest. We're never in the moment. We're never in the now. We're either sometime in the future or sometimes in the past. All right? Hear me out, right? Our minds are never, it's maybe not never, but it's most often than not, it's not now. Our minds are not now. It's always thinking about something in the future or something about the past. We're living in the past or living in the future, right? Many of us are engaged in a what if scenario, or engaged in fear factors of from our past, right? So we're simulating the past and projecting it into the future, and we're constantly doing this, you know. So this is what our minds are always doing. And when we engage in that kind of activity in our minds, we get so weary and we're not at rest. You know, our psychological mental work is so much more than what we do physically. You know, there's a big gap. You know, our minds work more than our bodies. But sometime in our ancestors or our grandparents or people before them, it was the other way around. Well, at least, you know, they came close to their mental activity. I'm not saying that they didn't live in the past or the future, but then their physical activity somewhat coped, you know. So they were like more able to be restful, and you know, they got into a pattern where they slept and woke up at a certain period of the day. But for us, our minds are so much used to this kind of restlessness that it does not know how to rest during conscious periods of time, right? So so going back, you know, sleep is a form of death. I told that to you earlier. Why I say that is because when you sleep for 8 hours of the day as prescribed, what are we doing? There are only 24 hours in the day, right? And out of these 24 hours, you know, we're 8 hours if we're unconscious, or if we're just not aware of anything around us. So basically we're dead for about 1/3. You know, that's 8 divided by 24, that's 1/3 of the day, right? So if you have 1/3 of the day just gone, you have 2/3 of the day for yourself, right? And out of that 2/3, right, you probably are an employee or, you know, doing some kind of work. So that's another 1/3 gone, right? So that's 1/3 work, 1/3, well, sleep or death. Then that leaves only 1/3 more. So 2/3 is out of the way, and there's only 1/3 which you need to, you know, do your other things. For example, like, you know, focus on yourself, or you're building up yourself, your studying, or your development, self-help, self-development, reading, doing your hobbies, you know, things you like to do, right? So that's how a general person's day is segmented usually. But now, if you practice 1/3 sleeping, you're practicing unrealistically. That's 1/3 of the day spent dying, right? You're practicing 1/3 doing that. So rather than that, if I were to tell you that there are ways that you can achieve states of restfulness, that's what I said, restfulness, while being awake, right? There are ways, but those require practice, and those require some form of commitment to getting that practice done, right? Because as with any activity, you know, you just don't go play a sport, you know, just as an amateur. You know, you just don't go swinging a bat in a cricket game or a baseball game. You got to know how to do it. You got to know the techniques. You got to know the rules. You got to know how it's done. And you got to be able to practice, right? And you got to master those techniques, right? So once you master it, you know how to do it, how to achieve those states of restfulness, right? So this video per se was I decided to do just after a holiday that I went, came back from Myanmar, and I just wanted to tell you and share my insights on sleep and how it's not a necessity, but a replacement because we don't know how to be rested during hours of wakefulness, right? And that's the reason. That's also one of the reasons why, you know, we have very erratic heart rates, because we are generally living in our minds, right? Not at the present, but we're living in our minds. So when that happens, you know, it drives our emotions, our chemistry gets altered, so much so that we're like a mess, right? We become a mess. We don't know how to master this beautiful piece of creation, right? Because I mean, this is one of the most beautiful pieces of equipment on this planet, and that's the human machine, right? And we don't know a thing about it. We just run at it like a caveman's time, because this is very sophisticated. You know, you just can't do something like that and just expect it to function. You know, this is very precise. So I'm also learning about these things, you know, and as I learn, I will unfold more things to you on this channel, so you can expect more out of this channel. These are just things that I am sharing with you as in how I learn it. So the more I go in depth into these you know, into these fields, I will disseminate more of this information to you. So be in tune and on this channel, which is Liformation, and do subscribe to my channel. If you like this video, give me a thumbs up, and hoping to see you soon on my next video. So peace, take care.